All right. Hey, everyone. Aaron Bowman here. Thanks for coming by and listening or watching this podcast. And today I have a special guest on here. I have the Senior Vice President, Patrick Major from ACN, on the call today. We're doing a video chat and Zoom because this is kind of how business is being done now. And really, we're going to dive into some things you can do as a realtor or any type of business owner to help increase your revenue per transaction and increase your sales. But first, before we get into all that, I'd like to introduce Patrick Major. If you would, sir, please, hopefully you can hear us and you can jump right into on the call.
Great to be here, Aaron. And, my name's Patrick Major, and excited about being able to bring value to the real estate world, and especially real estate professionals. I've been an entrepreneur all my life. All that meant 20 years ago is I had a bucket and a sponge and a hose, and I had a lawnmower. So it's funny how today entrepreneurs being taught at school 20 years ago, that just meant you were a hustler. You were out there doing anything you could to make more money. I stumbled across this company, ACN, 17 years ago, and loved everything I saw, jumped on, and been doing full time for the last 16 years.
Wow, that's a long time. That's a long time. And you are in the Philadelphia area, correct?
That's correct. I'm in Pennsylvania.
Oh, Pennsylvania. Okay. And what's nice about what I know about ACN, and I'll talk about myself in it a little bit at the end of this, but it's great. You can do it pretty much anywhere, right? We're in 23 or 25 countries now?
Yep. So we're global. Got a global platform, 27 countries we're operational in, and selling services around the world, which we'll talk a little bit about. But whether it be the U.S., Canada, Europe, Asia, South, Latin America, we're licensed to do business.
Wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Now, since we are in this pandemic, you're at home, I'm at home in my dining room right here. How has it affected how you've had to do things differently? Now, I know, like myself, I'm over at EXP, and we've been virtual since 2009 when we started. So not much has changed for us, but I got to assume things have changed a little bit for everybody over at ACN.
Two things. One, we're a home-based business. So if you talk about, timing when it comes to what we do, we're seeing a surge in business because of how we're designed. We're independent, home-based, business-driven type representatives. So, that part of what we do hasn't changed. What has changed is a lot of live events that we did in the past where we would do big events, 10, 15,000 people every quarter. That's all on hold right now. All of the local trainings that we would go to physically throughout the United States are all on hold. So we've taken it all online. We've used Zoom this platform has really been a lifesaver for us and a game changer too, because the entire world is learning how to use Zoom. So where before, Aaron, you probably had to tell people download the app and you know what I mean. Here's the meeting code, and and now it's like I had a presentation last Sunday. The woman had to be in her upper 70s, and I loved her. At the end of the presentation, she said, "Look, I got to get on another Zoom." I said, "Let me ask you a question. 30 days ago, did you know who Zoom was?" She said, "I'd never even heard of it." So the point is that everybody's being trained on how to use the technology, which is good for all of us.
Yeah, which is real good because as the more people use it, the easier it gets for everybody. And, we're doing the same thing in the real estate world here. I don't know what it's like in other states, but here in Connecticut, we can still do real estate transactions. It's considered an essential service for us, but we can't do open houses and bringing people to view houses. They really want us to kind of shy away from that. And if we do bring somebody, to only bring who's on the contract. So like yesterday, I actually shot a vlog episode. One of my realtors and I, we were out and we previewed 4 different houses. We took video, we took photos, 360 photos, and then we upload all that to the Google Drive and send that to the clients so they can get a better idea of what it's looking like, inside the home. So it's kind of, I think this is the new way of doing business for the near future anyways.
And look, efficient, At the end of the day, I mean, we can get in front of more people, do what we like to do and, be able to do it very efficiently for sure.
Right. So I know a lot of people probably watching or listening right now if they're on the Facebook Live. A lot of my sphere is realtors or real estate investors. So I really kind of want to jump into the nuts and bolts here of how ACN has been able to, or at least you and your team have been able to help, myself and a lot of other realtors, real estate investors, property owners, just, any business owner really. And I think maybe if we can just kind of dive into the nitty gritty of it and really, dissect a few things here, I think, that would be great.
You bring up a lot of great points, and we do have a lot of real estate professionals doing what we do. And I'll give everybody the 30,000-foot view so that if they do like what they hear, they can reach out to you, Aaron. I know you've had a lot of success with us, but we're the Amazon of services. So when you look at our business, what do? We bring customers and companies together. So whether it be AT&T or Spectrum or DirecTV or Dish or a variety of services that every tenant's going to need as they move into a new property as a tenant, or even as somebody that purchases a new home and they need these services at their home, we've created a concierge service that we can actually help that new homeowner not have to sit on hold and get hung up on, or deal with an hour trying to get services worked out at their property. It's especially a stressful time for most people buying the property. Imagine if we could take that off of their shoulders and white glove help them get all these different services that they've got to go get anyway, give them a tremendous value going through us to become a customer of these companies, and then get paid a residual every single month on those customers' bills. So it's worked hand in glove with real estate, another tool for the toolbox. I know, Aaron, for people that that are in your world, and it's been so well received, especially now because of the way we get paid. We get paid a percentage of the bill, so those checks are very thankful for a lot of people around the world right now because of the fact that it is residuals.
Yeah, I think those are some great points because with the real estate, as we're building these transactions, we're putting our clients in contact with the local phone company, the wireless internet, the TV, whether it's Spectrum or AT&T Dish. We're connecting all these people. So for me in my business, adding it to my business model has been huge, especially like you said with home buyers. Regardless if it's your first home or it's your 10th, there's still that stress level involved, and especially if they're first-time home buyers, it is really nice just to be able to sit down and say, okay, we're getting ready to go close on this tomorrow, or we've just closed. Let's take care of all your stuff and get it on board. So the last thing you have to do is worry about, like you said, sitting on the phone for 20 minutes with somebody from Frontier, or 30 minutes because maybe they had an outage and now everybody's calling. Is this something most people do just over the phone, or is it like I normally do it on my computer? Is that how most of the ACN
will work? So everything's going online for us, so we can do it all online. It's extremely simple, as to put a customer on. So that part we've got dialed in. We pay per customer up front. So give you an example, I have a gentleman in Ohio that had about 20 common area lights. So he was responsible as a landlord for all the common area lights, which we literally paid him $1,200 up front just to bring those common area lights over to our partner in the energy space.
Wow.
So, look, bottom line revenue for him as an investor, that's $1,200 of money that he did not get before that he gets now, and then he gets a residual piece of that bill every 30 days.
Right. Now, can you just touch on the residual part? Because I know, some of the people watching, love residual income. I think most people should have a plan A, plan B, and plan C. And I think right now a lot of people's plan A's are failing or have failed, so they're looking for that plan B. Can you touch on just a little bit, not the complete compensation plan, but kind of like what are the percentages people are looking at as they're getting paid on these services?
So the way we get compensated is they pay 3 to 20% of the bill. So 3% is where it starts. It goes from 3 to 5, 5 to 7, all the way to 20% of a customer's bill. And so when we talk about that, remember, a bill is not a person. So gas would be one, electric would be one, internet would be one, cable would be one. So you can see how people would have multiple services per property. So every month they do a screenshot. They said, look, here's what your customer spent last month. They combine all of those bills together and then cut you a percentage, depending on where you are, 7%, 10%, 20%, and then direct deposit it into your account. So to your point, anybody that's made residual income will never not make residual income. Right. And people that haven't made residual income will be ruined once they make residual income. So it's just one of those, great ways of making money that probably wasn't taught in school to most of us.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's kind of like that train wreck where you don't want to look away, but once you see it, you're just like, I can't believe I've done this work. Like I have clients now that I did this a few months ago, and I'm still, other than just, hey, how's the house going? What do you love about the house? it's, I don't ask them, hey, how's your electricity? They're paying their bill. I'm still getting paid. And one thing I definitely noticed about this with, I have friends in the restaurant business. My mother-in-law owns a bar in the area. She had to shut down, and it's just, one of those things where this is almost pre-recession proof. I mean, people are going to pay their cell phones. I know I have tenants that have paid their light bill before they paid me every month. So, I think it's just one of those things, like you said, once you see that residual income, you're just like, wow, this is kind of cool how this works.
Great point, Aaron. And look, what we're realizing now in the new reality is what's essential. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. We've never had a definition of what essential businesses are. You know what I mean? Like, we've never in the history of our country ever said, hey guys, no, that's an essential business. That has to stay open. That is essential. And so when you look at our offerings, internet's essential. I mean, you got to have it. Could you imagine your listeners or people on here today, if you didn't have internet at your property, how many of us agree there would be chaos in your house or not having electric? I mean, can you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, a cell phone. Take a cell phone away from a teenager one time, and only imagine what kind of pain would be caused at that house. So these are essential, and I think more now than ever, that word has a different meaning than it did 60 days ago.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, even now, like here in Connecticut, and I think across most of the U.S., we are all homeschooling. Like now, I'm a stay-at-home dad and teacher, and I couldn't imagine not having the internet. Like, I realize now I probably couldn't pass the fourth grade the way they teach things, but it's one of those things you need to have it now. There's just, there is no opening up a book. It's, hey, we're going to jump online and we're going to Zoom with your teacher this morning and get today's lesson plan. So it's definitely, the nail on the head when it comes to essential services and what is really important nowadays.
And we've had great success in phenomenal economies, and we have great success in bad economies because, to your point, it's essential. And so, we've been able to help a lot of people. As we look at our landscape of people that do what we do, there's people looking, as you pointed out earlier, plan B, plan C. I mean, I can't imagine, today not thinking multiple streams of income. And for anyone that didn't think that way before, I promise you is thinking that way now.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I've even had some people that I originally told about this when I got into ACN, and they were like, no. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, I did get, XYZ services from you. How are you getting paid on that again? And how do I get started? And, for me, it was, hey, that's great. I'm glad you're coming around and seeing the light. And, yeah, let's get you signed up. Let's put some money in your pocket. Let's get you some bonuses. And I think, showing people, how to actually make money from their living room, which is where most of us are stuck now, till at least May, it sounds like. It's a great way to be able to do communications like this and to still be able to build an income and a business.
And look, I look at real estate professionals like entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? Because in the end, that's what you are. You're figuring out ways to do better in your job, on how to get more clients, how to bring more value, how to separate yourself from everybody else out in that space. And, here's what we're seeing is that people that have embraced this a year ago and 2 years ago and 3 years ago, just because they heard about it before, I've gotten countless calls from people who said, listen, I am so thankful that I've got another opportunity. I can put my hat on and go to work somewhere else today and make revenue today for my family based on the skill set that I learned a year ago or 2 years ago in this business. I have one gentleman that is huge in the NFL, NBA, NHL. He sells private suites, throughout the United States for corporations and people that come in and, want to rent a box, if you will, for an NFL game. And, those days are gone for him right now. Well, thankfully, he built a customer base up 6 years ago that pays all his bills. So even though his main business is completely stopped, his income, to pay his bills is still being taken care of by a residual check that he put in place 6 years ago.
Wow. That's huge, and that's got to be, a lifesaver for most people, especially, when their plan A fails, to have a plan B and not have to worry about, going out, maybe being an Uber driver right now or doing DoorDash or something like that. I mean, not only are you putting yourself more at risk, but at least, with this, you're doing it mainly from the comfort of your own home.
Yep. And look, what the difference between 08 and now is 08 people could go do catering on the side. 08 people could be that hustler out there driving Uber. '08 people could take a bartending job or a waiter job or waitress job. You know what I mean? Like there's always something that we as professionals could always make a dollar if need be. And that's not the case here now. So all of those things have been taken off the table when it comes to creating other revenue streams.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. And I just want to say again, thanks for taking the time today to come on here and kind of talk a little bit more about ACN and how it's helped realtors. Do you have any other tips for realtors if they're thinking of getting involved with ACN? How they can use this as a unique selling proposition? We all have to stand out a little bit. I know you kind of touched on that. And before we close this out today, maybe you can kind of give that community a few more tips if they decide to get into ACN and how it can really enhance their business.
It's really starting to take off. And even before this, I was at Keller Williams Family Reunion in Dallas this year. I went to R4, which is RE/MAX National Convention. And, as I deal with the influencers and even listening to the most successful people in the real estate space, here's what they were saying before this happened. We've got to create massive value for our client. You know what I mean? The industry's under attack. Everybody's using these, discount brokers in some cases coming around. How do we create so much value that our customers want to be with us forever? And so if you think about our program where we can not only give them front-end value of, hey, let me help you with these services and let my concierge take you through a VIP white glove experience, but how about touching base with them as you have every 6 or 12 months to say, look, I just want to make sure everything's good with you and the services that we took care of you with and you're happy with everything. And now let's get into that listing conversation. What I mean? Let's go back and retouch clients. I mean, I don't know your audience specifically, but I can imagine a lot of real estate professionals probably are a lot like people in sales where they forget about the follow-up. You know what I mean? Where, it's like the fortune in any industry is made by that, that loyal type customer, that raging fan customer that says, man, Aaron is just phenomenal. This guy's part of the family. Not only did he, help us get into a new house, but the guy calls me every year, making sure I'm happy with the services that he helped me get when I first moved in. And, he's at the front of my head when I think about real estate. And so I think that's a very big deal right now moving forward, that everybody has to separate yourself from everybody else in your space. And I think this is a big way of doing it. Second thing is, look, this too shall pass. But let's not let this pass without learning a lesson. And I think that lesson today is more than ever is residual income. Like you got to find ways to make money for, and look, if you've been giving away these customers, and I sat down with a gentleman, did 1,700 transactions last year, 1,700. So I said, imagine if they only took one service, and let's just say out of the 1,700, 700 people said, I want to wait in line, I want to research where to get the electric from, I want to research where to get the internet from, and only 1,000 people of the 1,700 said, I'll take one service. And let's say that service happened to be home security, and it was a $50 bill. Great, that's $50,000 in billing he would have, and he would be making 20% of that. So that's $10,000 a month if they just did one service out of 1,700 and only 1,000 people did one service. Now remember, we sell internet, gas, electric, home security, automation, television. So you can do your own numbers. And I know the audience of people here that have sold lots of properties and manage lots of properties or invest in lots of properties. You can do your own math. I mean, you can tell me what that number is, but he was blown away, and then implemented it into his practice, and he's having a lot of success with us. So, look, guys, I think it's a new world, and look, if we have to embrace change, and one thing my mentor taught me early in life, he said, whoever adapts the fastest wins.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. That's true.
And there was somebody putting shoes on horses 100 years ago, and Henry Ford started pumping out a car a day, and pretty soon a car an hour, and then a car a minute. Guess what? Putting shoes on horses doesn't pay anymore. He got into putting tires on cars and became the Firestone family. So the thing that'll make it is that he didn't say this is wrong and we shouldn't have cars, and my dad's dad only worked in horses. Those days are gone, folks. Let's adapt with the new reality and pivot out of here and come out better than we went in.
That's true. That is very true. Well, Patrick, I really do appreciate you taking the time today. I'm going to close this out here. If anybody has any questions, wants to know more about this, if you're watching this on the Facebook Live, There is a Calendly link. You can schedule a 30-minute consultation with me, or you can give me a call, 860-849-9227. And I just really want to say thanks again, Patrick, for taking the time out of your day. I know you're a very busy individual. It's nice to know that there are senior vice presidents that will take the time to do stuff like this, because, there's a lot of people that wouldn't, and I do truly appreciate it.
Happy to help, Aaron, and you're a great leader, and anybody that gives Aaron a call, you'll be blown away. Like, we're underselling this right now. I promise you, when you talk to Aaron personally, see what he's been able to do. It's just absolutely incredible. So thanks again. Stay safe, and can't wait to see you at one of our live events.
Yeah, that'd be great. Eventually we'll get back there, I'm sure.
We will.
All right, thank you.